Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all having a great and fantastic day and that you're all doing amazing. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. It's a free and easy way to support the channel. A very big thank you to everyone who leaves a comment on every single video, helping out the algorithm, and everyone who's been here for almost 10 years. I know it's a little bit insane. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. As you might have seen, as you might have remembered, we are in a very interesting spot right now within the cryptocurrency space. We normally always get a very healthy amount of good news within the market. We're constantly hearing about adoption, companies and institutions buying, corporations creating brand new cryptocurrency reserves, you name it, it's nonstop. We have seemingly transitioned into, okay, there's a bunch of good news, now let's talk about prices a lot more. If you've missed any videos the last couple of weeks, the price predictions are interesting, to say the least. People are expecting by the time we get to summer, like really actually summer, that we will have, they say, a $5, $6, or $7 XRP, a $2, $3, $4 Cardano, and people are expecting, and I mean at this point, the bare minimum number that we keep getting is a 250,000 US dollar Bitcoin sometime over the course of this year. Institutions and companies have not stopped buying, and they're probably not going to any time soon. A lot of the news recently has also been kind of clustered together, as a lot of it is relatively similar and also not. We're getting a lot of, what's the word? Like non-stop buying. There's something else happening behind the scenes that we are not privy to, that's currently taking place, that's going to drive this market into the literal stratosphere. That's been the common theme as of late. The CEO of Coinbase, his name is Brian Armstrong, has stated that the U.S. government is expected to own over. He says the U.S. government is going to own over 600 billion U.S. dollars in Bitcoin reserves, with plans to purchase 100 billion in Bitcoin very soon. This must have been also maybe 10 days ago, 10, 11, 12, 13, somewhere around there. We had a news story that apparently someone within the White House said that they know that now that the US is going to start buying Bitcoin in mass in huge numbers. That was almost 2 weeks ago. And I said in the video, I was like, just do it. We had news from, I think it was from Scaramucci. I'm not really sure. There were 3 separate people who all came out saying it's imminent, it's going to happen, the US is going to start buying Bitcoin. So I guess we are just waiting for the imminency at some relative point. The idea of if the United States, and also the weirdest part was that apparently people are trying to figure out ways for the United States to buy up Bitcoin that won't be a burden to taxpayers. And the 3 ways that we heard it would happen was A, Someone said the US should sell cheese. It sounds like a joke. It's not. Apparently, there are thousands of tons of cheese in a bunker somewhere, and somebody was like, sell it. Sure. Someone said that the United States should begin to sell some of their gold. We were given the idea that the United States has a bunch of gold, but for some reason on paper, it's still valued back from 1972. We were given no explanation as to why. And therefore, if you use the actual current real numbers, the United States could sell off several $billion and use that to buy Bitcoin. And then the other proposition was that someone said the United States would create Bitcoin bonds, basically creating bonds and using the money from those bonds to buy Bitcoin, and then securing those bonds with Bitcoin and getting more money from them. And this loop would continuously happen until the United States has all the Bitcoin in the world. If we hear at any point soon that the United States, imagine on a Monday, they're like, hey, we're doing it tomorrow. And they announce a $100 billion purchase. If we didn't, listen to my words clearly, if we didn't immediately skyrocket over $250,000, I think I would leave the market for like a week. Like mentally, I would need a very long nap. I would need to just relax. I would have to go to a beach somewhere and clear my mind. If we got $100 billion purchase from the strongest economy, kind of, on the planet, and the price didn't move up even, I don't know how I'd be able to handle it. Billionaires Max Kaiser and Tim Draper have thrown themselves back into the news. Tim Draper used to be in the news constantly. He was kind of in the same time frame around like Novogratz and like all these other people. He used to be a gigantic Bitcoin. Pretty sure he still is. I assume this man has an egregious amount of Bitcoin. But he's popping back into the news, as is Max Kaiser. We also used to hear about Max Kaiser a lot before, but I think because Max Kaiser is quite eccentric, he usually doesn't make the news as much anymore. Bit of a, Okay. Billionaires Max Kaiser and Tim Draper have expressed bullish views on Bitcoin's future value. Max Kaiser is predicting a Bitcoin price of $850,000 US during this cycle. This is nearly in line. It's actually nearly smack dab in the middle from Samson Mao and Adam Back. Samson Mao said $500,000 to $1 million, and Adam Back was like, no, we're going to $1 million this year. I want to believe more than you could actually believe. All the signs are pointing to that this is possible. None of this seems questionable. None of this seems like a fairy tale or a dream. You can't have this much Bitcoin taken off of exchanges. You can't have companies and institutions buying large amounts of Bitcoin. You cannot have MicroStrategy closing in on 1 million Bitcoin. You can't have BlackRock nearing also 1 million Bitcoin. You can't have the amount of Bitcoin on crypto exchanges as low as it's been since 2018 and not have some kind of a gigantic, really strong, really crazy movement upward. If we get to 850, do you understand? Understand. Well, first of all, this is not a hype channel. I try my best to reel it in, irrespective of the good news that we are constantly getting. Do you know how rich people in crypto are going to be if we get to an $850,000 Bitcoin? In case you missed it, a lot of people are, really screaming at the top of the mountain right now talking about that we are going to get to a $10,000 Ether within the coming months. Everyone's super hyped. Okay. And Draper suggested that it could even reach infinity. I assume that's a futuristic price cycle, but that's also been said by Michael Saylor as well. The idea technically being, as long as they can create more fiat currencies and those that money can be pushed into Bitcoin, and as there is more Bitcoin always technically being made, then therefore the price will always continuously, in this infinity scenario, always push up in price. Michael Saylor, a prominent Bitcoin avocado and executive chairman of MicroStrategy, has called for the US to buy Bitcoin and indicated that other countries may have to purchase Bitcoin at prices as high as $50 million. That's a very Bitcoin maximalist mindset. The idea, once again, keep printing fiat, keep pushing it into Bitcoin. Bitcoin's price goes up. We know that there will always be stragglers of some sort. And one of the ideas is, no matter how many countries buy Bitcoin, use Bitcoin, mine Bitcoin, trade Bitcoin, use it in some sort of a trade kind of deal between themselves, there will always be one country who ends up getting it at the very end, and they will have to pay an enormous amount for this Bitcoin to be able to keep up with everyone. Saylor has also, and I mean, listen, hold on to your hats, everyone. Saylor has also announced plans to buy more Bitcoin imminently. We've never heard that before. That's never, ever happened. Michael Saylor has never, ever said that they plan on buying more Bitcoin. It's not like he says it every 13 and a half hours. If you missed a video about 5 days ago, this shook me to my core. So MicroStrategy this year is raising $21 billion with a B, $21 billion to buy more Bitcoin. Next year, they're raising $21 billion to buy more Bitcoin. You know what they're doing the year after? They're raising $84 billion. Yes. So it only gets crazier. So he's announcing that they're going to be buying more Bitcoin imminently, as reflected in his publicly shared Saylor tracker chart. We are at the point where, as I've stated before, it is May, June, July. I want to say August. August sounds appropriate unless something else crazy happens. End of July, early August, we're probably going to hear that they have anywhere between 700,000 and 800,000 Bitcoin. There's no real way around it. So, yeah, the news continues to be intense, as it always is. Every analyst is screaming that we're about to go much higher in price. Things are looking pretty good. The red carpet has been rolled out. $850,000 per Bitcoin. It seems I try and hold on to $250,000. But I feel like we can go much, much higher. Like at least $500,000. It feels like it. Like there's too much going on. There's too much momentum for us to only get like a 5x. I don't know if that sounds a little bit too insane. That's the cluster of news. Also tying relatively into it, Michael Saylor was recently on Forbes discussing cryptocurrency adoption, and he said this thing and everyone was like, oh snaps, that makes a lot of senses. So Michael Saylor says he's no longer focusing on the Fortune 100 companies. He's now focusing on the forgotten 12,000. His idea basically being There are a lot of companies out there. A lot of them have been forgotten. A lot of them aren't doing well. A lot of people, there's a lot of investors have chosen to take their money elsewhere. However, MicroStrategy their stock gained 3,000%. Do you understand how difficult it is for any company to really, push 10, 15, 20% yearly? MicroStrategy did 3,000%. I believe it was Metaplanet. I think they went up by 1,500%. And I think the blockchain group, their company went up by 700%. And their stock valuation. And it was all because they said the words, we as a company are going to buy Bitcoin. So he basically says, and I quote, there are 12,000 public companies in the US. Most of them the market has lost interest in, and they're competing against Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and Apple. But by adopting Bitcoin, he said, the way you actually get back on top is you ride the next big wave. He thinks, as many of us do, that Bitcoin is the next big thing, that Bitcoin is going to several $1 million per coin, basically stating if it worked for us, it can work for you. So we have been seeing as of late as well, there have been a couple of other companies, in general, I want to say around 10 to 15 in the last 2 years, who have announced at some point, we bought 200 Bitcoin, we bought 350 Bitcoin. But now we're seeing companies openly saying that they're making a reserve. Similar to Capital 21, they're literally announcing we're going to do exactly what MicroStrategy is doing, but on a whole nother level. We will literally issue debt against ourselves. We are going to create new products. We're going to sell as many things as we can with the entire purpose of only accumulating more Bitcoin. So I told you when we heard about the blockchain group in Capital 21 that this was going to be replicated. What we're waiting for is probably the end of this year to see just how well it worked out. We need to see that the blockchain group stock has doubled again. We need to see that any 2-3 new companies who get into the space, that their stock valuations have risen by 300, 400, 500%. And you will not have a choice. You will, as a company, have no choice, and you will have to buy some amount of Bitcoin or you're going to be left behind. The more that these already 4 companies buy, the less Bitcoin that there is and the richer they get. If you don't replicate it, you will essentially be poorer Bitcoin-wise. And as Bitcoin is valued against the US dollar, your company will literally mathematically struggle. You will, as a smaller company, have to announce, and I mean even like mom and pop shops, we just bought 3 Bitcoin, because you literally will not have a choice. Because by the time Bitcoin gets $3 million, you can then only afford a tenth of a Bitcoin, maybe, if you're lucky. Yeah, this was also major news. It was from Forbes, and it was weird. It was titled the Forgotten 12,000 Companies. Sure, why not? That's all that news. Yeah. Let's move on. Okay. Well, this is either going to happen or it's not going to happen. This is either going to take place or it's not going to take place. We are either going to witness this event happening or it will all just simply go up in smoke. There's really no in between. I do not know why. I think I do know why, but I also don't. So I have an idea as to what it could be, but I'm not smart enough to know what the fudge is actually going on. The last year and a half has for some reason been just a smorgasbord of us hearing about what Ethereum is going to do, the upgrades, what this is going to happen. We normally, for those of you who don't know, we normally would hear on a 3-4 month basis. We would normally hear that Ethereum was having some kind of an upgrade. Flop-a-dop, cool. We'd hear about it in January. They say it's launching in February. We would hear about it in March. We would hear that it's launching in April. We would hear about it in April. That they would say sometime in July. We'd hear about it in July. They'd say, okay, August. We'd hear about it in August. And then they'd say October. We actually get it in October. That was usually the Ethereum news. And that upgrade was going to change the world as we knew it. For some reason, it's over 16 months. Have been bi-weekly. We're going to do this. This is going to happen. We're going to do this. We're going to update this. And is this kind of like everyone seemingly has an idea as to what's going to make Ethereum the greatest altcoin and rush up extremely in price, and everyone has an idea. So we heard from Vitalik a while ago that apparently, oh gosh, I don't remember. He has all these like propositions for the coin. He wants to move away from, I think it was ZK Snarks, and he wants to do something called like Riza or Misa or Ibiza. It's like some 3-letter word, and I was like, okay, Lisa, whatever the fudge is called. And then there was some other proposal, and now here we go again. Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin is calling for the simplification of Ethereum's base protocol, aiming to make the network more efficient, secure, and accessible, drawing inspiration from Bitcoin's minimalist design. Yes, another proposal has now been put onto the table. That's what I said. This is either going to happen or it's not. This is going to be put forth or it's not. We've had stuff over the years that you wouldn't believe about proposals and companies that Vitalik was working with. Who, remember, what was it called? Plasma. Plasma was another thing. This is a constantly like revolving door for this coin and for this project that everyone keeps throwing out ideas. And now apparently the one that everyone's looking at is making Ethereum as simple as possible, just like Bitcoin. In a blog post titled "Simplifying the Layer 1", Buterin laid out a vision to restructure Ethereum's architecture across consensus, execution, and shared components. He said, and I quote, "This post will describe how Ethereum," here's the kicker, "how Ethereum 5 years from now can become close to as simple as Bitcoin," Buterin wrote, arguing that simplicity is key to Ethereum's resilience and long-term scalability. This is a page right out of the playbook of Cardano. You announce that something's going to happen, but you don't say when. The next 5 years is crazy. You want to know why it's crazy? And here's a good one. Back in 2016, 2016, the people from Ethereum announced that in 2017, Ethereum would be upgraded to Ethereum 2.0 and have over 100,000 transactions per second. Well, my friends, that took 6 years, if not plus, for us to even get to Ethereum 2.0, and we still don't have 100,000 transactions per second. All the other upgrades that they said would come out in January usually happen in October. If this is supposed to happen in 5 years from now, that assumes the year 2042 this will actually take place. And I say it not as someone, this isn't, you have to understand, I know I have a certain tone in my voice. It's just how I talk. It's who I are. But as someone who's been in this space for a while, I've learned multiple times when we hear things, it's like, just do it. I think that a lot of developers are probably afraid or think that some limelight might be taken off of Ethereum because of layer 2 solutions. If you're a developer, I'm going to tell you something right now, and please tell all of your friends. No one cares. Like, no one who's actually like in the space for the money cares. No one. The developers might care. The people who are like the most intelligent in the room might care. Investors don't care. We just want something that's like working. The entire thing that we want to be able to stake. We want faster transactions per second, and we want a system that works. So when you announce an upgrade, when you announce an update, understand that 95% of people don't actually care. I think for developers, they might see it as like a bit embarrassing. This is how I've gathered that over the years, if they say that something's going to happen, they want to like give like the best thing that they possibly can. If everything happens on layer 2 solutions, but they're finalized on Ethereum, and Ethereum's total value locked rises, if staking works, and the amount of money and coins and things on chain that run on Ethereum work, no one really cares. And I mean that explicitly. As long as it works, as long as we're getting adoption, and adoption can even come in the form of layer 2. There's such a huge focus on trying to make layer 1 on Ethereum get to 1 million transactions per second. No longer feel embarrassed, my friend. No one actually cares. No one. All it has to do is work. All we want to hear is that Visa's adopting it. All we want to hear is that it's part of the cryptocurrency reserve fund. And I mean all of that. Because over the years, I felt this kind of thing that developers kind of like get annoyed or frustrated within the project. And like there's a lot of like internal conflict. No one in the market really cares. If we can, and listen, if we can get Ethereum up to 4, 5, 6,000 transactions per second on chain, and you have Polygon and Mollyson and Chichamachan and all these other Pancake Swap and Coin Flip and all these other things, if those additionally give cumulatively Ethereum 60,000 transactions per second, the same as Visa, GG. Like no one really cares. So the idea of in five years slimming down Ethereum to become more like Bitcoin is like, stop it. Like please for the love of goodness, like stop the nonsense. While recent upgrades like proof of stake and zero knowledge non-interactive argument, oh geez Louise, ZK Snark integration have made Ethereum more robust, he said that technical complexity has led to bloated development cycles. Yeah, because everyone's trying to do everything at the exact same time on this chain. I feel like there must be like investors behind the scenes who are asking for tons of things that they want on chain. There's no problem, really. There's no problem with Bitcoin being exactly like Bitcoin. You have one thing and you don't upgrade the main chain. Get us to a couple thousand transactions per and not batched transactions. 5,000 per second. And every other layer 2, have them pick up the slack. No more bloating. Like really, like no one else will care because we know that it works and it will take us into the future. Visa has been running strong with 60,000 transactions per second. You have to understand that the average consumer needs fast transactions, but not instantaneous, which has also been like a dream within crypto as well. When you go to the store, you tap your card or swipe your card or lick your card, whatever you do in the store. You tap it and you look at the screen and it goes doop, 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 beep. It takes about a good 2.5 seconds. That's all we need. No one's asking for you tap it and then boom. It's fine. It's really like I don't know any Ethereum developers, but there must mathematically be one here or somewhere. Everyone doesn't care at all. Just make the thing work and then worry about everything else on layer 2s. He said historically, Ethereum has often not done this, sometimes because of my own decisions And that has contributed to much of our excessive development expenditure. It's constant. It's never ending. It's not that deep. There's a reason why when I go over sometimes, like why Bitcoin, think about it. Bitcoin does 3 to 5 transactions per second and is deterring no institutional investors. 3 to 5 transactions per second. If Ethereum did 1,000, it would, thumbs up. You guys did it. Having to constantly always talk about these new things, this new upgrade, this is going to happen, this is going to... It's exhausting. It's exhausting. He said all kinds of security risks and insularity, and R&D culture, often in pursuit of benefits that have proven illusion. This guy has, wow. No, that's crazy. That's crazy. He literally just said what I just said. It's just so much for this project. Investors don't care. If you can literally just make the main chain work, our money is safe, we can stake and make passive income. Everything else, let's use layer 2s. As long as the main chain is working properly, that's all investors care about. Anyway, as you might have imagined, this was very popular news. It's like, okay. Awesome. Cool. Well, in 5 years, or rather 17 and a half years, I hope it works out. I was dead serious. You don't understand. Investors just want it to work. It has to be functioning. It has to work. It has to have all the money safe, passive income, supply goes lower, coin burn works. Cool. Got it. That's all we need. That's literally all we need. Make another layer 2 solution with all this nonsense. There could have literally been a new layer called ETH L2 where all these upgrades and updates happened. Super simple. Or not so simple, but you understand what I'm saying. Well, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all are having a great day. Morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all, every single one of you, for watching, listening, liking the video, commenting on the video, and subscribing. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.